Gently.
All right, thank you so much, Rob. You know, I think can take the next one now. We will take this back. Fine, very good. So now I think you have seen in your good team. So lot of questions being raised during my after completion of my first part of lecture. Just I would like to mention here that I am a mathematician. I have given some information to formulate the mathematical model in my lecture, first part of my lecture. Just given some information. So now accumulating all these information, as a mathematician, how we formulate the mathematical model. I have earlier mentioned you that this research we had started in the year of 2012. And our motivation was in two parts. That is ecological part and production part that I have already mentioned in my first part of my lecture. Now, I will discuss formulating mathematical model and in-depth analysis of the mathematical model and our observation, that is the result, considering that mathematical model with in-depth analysis, analytical analysis, as well as numerical analysis, what type of results we receive, that I will present here. So here, at least 4 to 5 works I have amalgamated. So I will not discuss elaborately in all papers. I will give just the mathematical model, some numerical presentation from which we are received this result. Now, if you wish, then obviously again I will tell you that you go to my website. I have given in my first slide. You will check and you will ask me here in my email address also. I will send you the all research articles if you wish. Now, the mathematical models of Icammwa carcass, ecological and production interaction on various related issues. First, I discuss about the ecological mathematical models of Icammwa carcass ecological issues, so that this was our first publication. In 2013 or 14, I have forgotten, 13 or 14, it was a basic mathematical model that we had published, not a good journal, but it is a medium journal. The effects of insecticides spraying for whitefly control on Icammwa carcass plants and impulse-based mathematical approach with my research scholar. And here, what we did, that is the system, model system we had considered here the healthy Jactopha plant biomass, the latent Jactopha plant biomass, the infected Jactopha plant biomass, the healthy vector, that is white fly. I have in my previous part of lecture, I have mentioned the white fly that we have considered in our mathematical to formulate the mathematical model, the healthy vector white fly, which has been considered as UT, and the infected white fly, that is infected vector, infected white fly we have considered as infected vector, that because of it increase the disease, that's called actually vector-borne disease. So that has been named as the infected vector, and which is breeding. Now just you have to follow the healthy Jactopha plant is the latently infected Jactopha plant biomass A, actively infected Jactopha plant biomass Y, U is the uninfected vector or healthy vector, that is white fly, and G is the infected vector or infected white flies. These left hand side all are the changes, rate of change of respectively healthy Jactopha plant biomass, latently infected Jactopha carcass biomass, infected biomass, vector, infected, uninfected, and vector infected. We have considered here the first term, probably you know, all of you know, in the logistic fashion. The biomass, the production of biomass, Jactopha carcass biomass, it is not to be added unboundedly. And that's why we have considered D in a logistic fashion, where R is the intrinsic growth rate and K is the carrying capacity of that Jactopha carcass biomass. 1 minus X plus L plus Y, that is the total population of Jactopha carcass plant biomass, consisting healthy, infected, latently infected. The total carrying capacity is K. Now at the rate of K1, this healthy biomass is interacted with infected white fly, that is infected vector. So at a rate K1, this healthy Jactopha carcass biomass is interacted with infected vector following the law of mass action. What will be the term? Term will be minus K1 X3. Minus K on X3. So this vector, when it will arrive on the leaf of the Jactopha carcass plant, instantaneously the leaf will not be infected. Instantaneously will not be infected. It will take some time, 2 or 3 days. I have mentioned in my previous part of my lecture. So when it will interact with that Jactopha carcass, healthy Jactopha carcass plant biomass, then the leaf will not instantly infected. Then the Jactopha carcass plant biomass is to be infected. Before that, it is to be latently infected. Am I clear? So the latently infected biomass this term will be engrossed in this term. Am I clear? Okay. Next, this is this A. This A is the this A is the rate of transfer to the infected state. A is the rate of transfer of the infected state. Suppose the healthy, the vector, infected vector arrives on the leaf of the Jatrophacarpus plant. It will take some time to infect, actively infect it. During this period, it was being latently infected portion. When it is to be actively infected, so it moves towards actively infected Jatrophacarpus population biomass compartment. Am I clear? That's why at a rate A means the rate of transfer to the infected state. This population will be transferred, move forward to the infected class or actively infected class. Here, another term is G1 and another term delta A. What is delta? This term. This is delta. This delta, the rate of recovery. When Jatrophacarpus plant, after arrival of the infected vector, that latently infected Jatrophacarpus and healthy Jatrophacarpus blood biomass all not to be infected. Some of them, because they have the immunity, all not to be infected. Some of them will be moved forward to the healthy state. At a rate, delta, these healthy, latently infected Jatrophacarpus biomass will move towards the healthy Jatrophacarpus biomass. That's why this term is to be moved towards this healthy Jatrophacarpus biomass. Now, this term became positioned in this, and Gy, we have written here minus Gy. Gy, that means the cutting edge. When, if you go to your garden, sometimes infected, some of your infected plants, if you see, you remove that seed, that plant from your garden. What do you do? No? We do not. So, in the same thing, we have done the some of the Jatrophacarpus plants, those who are being infected actively, we have cut them and removed them. So G is the rate of cutting of that infected plant. Beta is the rate of plant loss. That means the plant, those who are died, that can be removed from the garden or from the cultivation, that has been removed at a rate beta. Another part we have considered U and V. U, that means the total uninfected vector. And it is also more, that is B. B is the rate of maximum vector birth. Maximum vector birth, that is the birth that is uninfected vector, infected vector. Total vector is U plus B. So birth is B into birth rate is B. So B into U plus B. That we have done here. And from this minus u plus v divided by m into x plus l plus y. Why we have done it? Because from this bar, this bar cannot be exponentially grow or unboundedly grow, so that we have considered it in a logistic fashion. And x plus l plus y, this basically here m is the maximum vector abundance, and m into x plus l plus y, that means the total plant population which is being attacked by the uninfected vector as well as infected vector. And KYQ, that means K2, which is represented here, the acquisition rate of infected vector, infected plant, the vector which is to be infected or accumulation or interaction with the infected plant, then that transmission would be happen at the rate K2, and C is its mortality rate of uninfected vector. This V is the infected vector, and this V similarly K2, this K2 implies that the acquisition rate of the infected vector which is interacted with the infected plant. This term basically move towards the infected class, and C is the natural mortality rate. So this was our first mathematical model on ecological space. Later, we have introduced space, that is safer, I have mentioned earlier. We have given this space in an impulsive manner, and what type of results we are getting, that has been shown in this one. Here we have given where we will give the impulsive first. Before going to impulsive, we have given the space in a fixed control. Fixed control, that means optimal control. In a fixed control, we have given this, and that is why we have introduced here the control parameters, this one and this one. Later we have given the system, that is the spraying of the insecticide, reduce the uninfected and infected vector population. Here S as the control parameter is state of spraying, and the system becomes in this form. This is the impulsive form of the system. I am not going to elaborate discussion of this. So we have given the impulsive manner of the spray to the infected or uninfected total population of the Jactobacillus family. The legend just have to follow here. I am not going to the analytical legend. Just have to follow impulsive control with 5 days interval. We are giving the space 5 days interval. Just it is taking to remove the fly 20 days. But impulsive control with 2 days interval we are giving. It has been removed within 8 days. But when we are giving the fixed control, that is every day I am giving the extinction, the vector will not be extincted. Suppose this line is parallel to the X line, that is with day. So that we can give the conclusion here, insecticide spraying with impulsive control in 2 days interval ultimately leads towards disease-free situation of Jactobacillus. And lastly, spraying in impulsive mode, that is the best possible way to eradicate the vector population. Later, we have first I have to give my respect to Professor A.G.O. Venturino. Last year he died. He was a great biomathematician, Queen University. He was my research collaborator, and he visited in my university, our university, 3 to 4 times. Professor A.G.O. Venturino. Those who are doing the mathematical biology, everybody, almost everybody know Professor A.G.O. Venturino. We did this work with him. The model for the control of the mosaic disease in Jatropha plantation. All of my research scholars and A.G.O. Venturino. Here given some suggestions here. The same type of mathematical model we had considered. Furthermore, the model here almost the same, but here we have not considered the latent period of the Jatropha plant biomass, and all other population has been considered. But here what we did, that is the temperature. Here one of the most transfer the temperature. At what temperature mosaic virus or the white fly will be sustained in an optimum level. That is done with this work, and we have seen that with 30 degrees Celsius, the Jatropha plant, Jatropha mosaic virus and the white fly, that is the white fly, the mosaic virus, those who are carrying, that is the white fly, they will sustain at an optimal level, so that the Jatropha plantation does not much more. Maximum production of Jatropha white fly is to be 30 degrees Celsius. Beyond that, the fly will not sustain. So if we keep the environment in such a position, that would be better for better cultivation of Jatropha plantation. And it was a research finding that the application of insecticides minimizes the effect of oscillation of the system and make it stable. And the control policy with minimum use of insecticidal soap and optimum spraying is needed to control mosaic virus and to optimize the cost of cultivation. And lastly, control has the ability to condense the oscillating nature of the population. And this work, it is also we have done with Professor A.G.O. Venturino, and here we have given some flavor that how we can avoid the pupils. That this is the Jatropha plantation. You nurture that plantation, you will get better result. Or you must have to motivate the people how we cultivate this Jatropha plantation, so that we have we will be more wealthy if we cultivate this. Ultimately, from where we can get a biodiesel or we can produce the biodiesel. That work has been done here through effect of awareness program for controlling mosaic disease in Jatropha plantation. That we have done. Here I am not going to the elaborate discussion of that. Just we have received the result. Awareness in Jatropha is highly dependent to obtain high yield of seeds, oils, and biodiesel. The study reveals that the spread of mosaic disease can be continued or even eradicated by the awareness campaign. To obtain an effective eradication through awareness campaign should be administered at sufficiently short time of interval. Awareness building for better agriculture and industrial techniques must be released over time and again. And role of awareness is multiplied with social involvement of media and grassroots level organizational campaigns and meetings. Lastly, practice I can give the message to the society that is the practice makes a man perfect, but awareness empowers knowledge. This is my message towards the society. So awareness build up as well as here and my country, all over the globe. It is most important as because of we have formulated the mathematical model considering the Jatavaka plantation, those who have infected by the mosaic virus through white fly, and if you build up the people awareness through media campaigning, then we can get better result, which is profitable for our society. Next, this was published, all of my research work and another world famous biomathematician, Professor Takuchi. This professor was in Japan, and this was, we have done a mathematical model for pest management in Icammwa carcass with integrated pesticide and optimal control factors. In my previous part of my lecture, the participants have asked me that the pesticide which we are using. Here we have given two pesticides. One is chemical pesticide, another is biopesticide. We have checked it in this mathematical model. The model was in this form, that is, I am not going to, so it will take my first model. I have given the elaborate discussion. So in this model, we have considered Icammwa plant biomass. This is the susceptible pest. This is the infected pest. This stuff, and this is the biopesticides which we have used. Biopesticides in our model. This is the biopesticide. In this model we have used. Later, what we did, the research findings, later we have used through impulsive way the chemical pesticide, and we have received the result that is the features of the system is the combined pesticide application in optimal control mode reduces the cost and has the less detrimental effect on environment. And this is the biopesticide application, which is functioning properly along with the chemical pesticide. And lastly, delivering the pesticide in combined way can lower the cost and minimize the excess use of chemical pesticide. So in this research work, I wish to give a message that biopesticide is much more costly. So if you use two pesticides, one is chemical pesticide, is much more harmful, and biopesticide combinedly, then obviously you will get better result using these biopesticides and cost effective and also cost effective. And if you give this in an impulsive way, you will get much more better result rather than the fixed control way. So this is the message with this was. And now that part was ecological part. Now I am going to production part. So production of biodiesel through mathematical modeling. Production of biodiesel through mathematical modeling. So from mathematics, we have received the maximum oil, jet of oil. Already we have received maximum oil. Now we wish to use this oil for production of biodiesel. So this is the continuation of my lecture. We have divided two parts, ecological part, production. From ecological part, our target was how we can get the maximum spectrum oil. That mathematically we have done, and so many work we have done. I am not going to this part. Some basic work I just had, just last year on paper has already been published. So our target was that in different scenario, different sequence, different situation, we are cultivating the Jatavaka plant. That plant has been attacked by the mosaic flies and the different pests. We are trying to kill that white fly and pest in different ways, considering the pesticide, and that pesticide, biopesticide, chemical pesticide, and ultimately our target was, what was our target? Our target was how we can get maximum That top oil. Now, we wish to use that Jatropha oil for production. But it is in different path. And this is physical chemical kinetics. Enzyme chemical kinetics. That means our first work, it was published in 2015, world famous journal Fuel, and some questions raised from the audience. Here we have seen the effect of mass transfer kinetics for maximum production of hydrogen from Jatropha oil, a mathematical approach. Effect of mass transfer kinetics for maximum production of hydrogen from Jatropha oil, a mathematical approach. Now, objective of the work. What is our objective? Our objective is to study the effect of mass transfer in different phases with variation of mixing intensity, intersterification reaction with temperature in the transistorification reaction and mathematical model which we wish to formulate and to discuss about control theoretic approach and its application to the reaction dynamics for the maximum production of hydrogen. Suppose you wish to mix in sugar in the water. So what amount of sugar you wish to mix in with the quantity of the water, that must be calculated because you are giving the mass sugar. Some of the sugar will not be mixed. The question is, this is called the mixing intensity. That means when Jatropha oil, that means the triglyceride, and oil, that means alcohol, sorry, oil, not oil. Jatropha oil, that means triglyceride. And alcohol, you are mixing with each other. So what amount of oil and what amount of alcohol you are mixing with each other so that the mixing intensity, what will be happening? That is our part of research. So in this work, we have tried to find out the mixing intensity, during the process of production of Jatropha oil and alcohol. So two things you just have to recalculate your mind. That is, we wish to produce biodiesel considering the two constraints. One is Jatropha oil, that is triglyceride, and another is alcohol. Right? Now, our mathematical model. The mathematical model for the transistorification reaction of Jatropha oil, the following assumption to formulate the mathematical model. Yesterday I have mentioned that how we formulate the mathematical model. So, how you formulate the mathematical model, during the formulation of the mathematical model, you must have to consider something in for which the mathematical model can be validated. In such a scenario, we just have the following assumptions have been made. Number one, transistorification of vegetable oil with methanol consists of three-stage-wise reversible reaction. That is, number one, this is TG, that means triglyceride, along with alcohol, with transistorification process, it will produce triglyceride and biodiesel. Again, from triglyceride along with alcohol with transistorification process, it will produce monoglyceride and biodiesel. Again, from these monoglycerides along with alcohol with transistorification process, ultimately it will produce glycerol and again biodiesel. Let's move on. it is mentioning it is a three-step-wise reaction. Three-step-wise reaction. Three-step, that means this triglyceride, that means the tetrocarpus oil. Its scientific name, triglyceride. We are mixing along with this triglyceride alcohol. When we considering which process, ancestarification process. Ultimately, what they will produce, triglyceride and bioglyceride. Again, from diglyceride, along with alcohol, it will produce monoglyceride and bioglyceride. Again, from monoglyceride, along with alcohol, it will produce the glycerol and bioglyceride. That's why we are telling this is a three-step-wise production. Now, these K1, K3, K5 are forward reaction rates, and K2, K4, and K6 are the backward reaction rates. Now, here also the reaction constant, this Ki, I equal to 1 to 6, follows the Arrhenius equation. Arrhenius equation, that is function of the temperature T, where this Ki equal to alpha e to the power alpha e to the power minus beta I by T. So during the process of production, temperature is very much required. So what temperature we will consider, that is most important, so that the mathematical term has been incorporated in this equation regarding with the reaction parameter, which is ultimately associated with Arrhenius equation. In that Arrhenius equation, temperature is very much associated with that Arrhenius equation. So this is the beauty of mathematics. When you will search, it was very tough to find out this term, but when repeatedly we have searched, and ultimately we have this. We wish to incorporate the temperature. That temperature is very much associated during the process of production of the biology. So, T, this T is the reaction temperature, alpha is the frequency factor, and beta I is the E alpha I by R, where E alpha I is the activation energy for each component, and R is the universal gas constant. So this is the basic contents formulating mathematical model, producing biology. And that's why the mixing intensity in the reaction system direct the mass transfer limitation between the reaction phases. So when triglyceride and alcohol mixed with each other, what? That is the turbine. Now in this turbine, we have input the triglyceride and alcohol. Now they will mix with each other. So then that mixing is very much associated with the mixing intensity, and that's why mixing intensity in the reaction system direct the mass transfer. When they mix with each other, then instantaneously that mass will transfer to the other part, and from that mass ultimately the biodiesel is to be produced. And that's why this reaction system directs the mass transfer limitations between the reaction phases, and the mathematical steering, that is the mathematical steering when you turbine, this is moving to each other, that is called the mechanical steering, is required to transesterification reaction. Here we use Ks. K is the mass transfer rate constant. We will show you the mathematical term. Here K is the mass transfer rate constant, and the term has been defined as below. What is the term? This is the term. Ks into A divided by 1 plus exponential of minus B into N minus C. So Ks is the mass transfer rate constant. Now, it is given in our model in logistic fashion, that is using the term below. What I am saying, what is the reality? And this is the beauty of the formulation of the mathematical model. Just I would like to mention here. Suppose You are giving the alcohol along with triglyceride. Machine has opened. Okay, how long they will mix with each other? When it will reach the maximum production, the machine will be shut down. Suppose your well is power cut. Power cut is happened such a time when this or is current is unable to consume or does this light. Am I clear? No clear. Okay. Suppose you tell me when this you have the generator. You have the generator. You are giving the oil. Okay. Suppose that oil is not much more. So what will happen? Is it to be stopped? Is to be stopped? Am I right? So you are putting oil in the machine. And your light is on. Am I clear? Similarly, you are giving triglyceride along with alcohol. You have opened your machine. How long it will produce the vitamin? This is transistor in that transistor integration process, mixing, that is KS, the mixing which I have mentioned here, KS. KS what I have mentioned here, KS, this KS I have mentioned. This mass transfer rate constant, mixing intensity is the reaction system direct the mass transfer limitation between the reaction phases. Mass transfer rate constant. So this intensity continue or mix with each other in such time or such a position when they are unable to produce the biodiesel. So the machine will be shut down. Am I clear? So this term Ks, this Ks equal to A into 1 plus exponential of minus B into A minus B. It is given in our model in a logistic fashion. And that's why I have given in our mathematical model. It is in not logistic fashion. That is using in the term below this Ks into xB into 1 minus xB divided by B max. K is Ks. X is the mass transfer rate constant. Ks is the mass transfer rate constant. Xb is the biodiesel. And 1 minus xb by Bmax, that implies when xb, production of xb is such a position for which this will be shut down. That means xb equal to Bmax. So that term will be 0. That we have incorporated in our mathematical model, where A is the speed of the steerer and its unit is RPM, and A, B, C are different parameters of the expression. Now this is the model. Just you have to follow. Here we have introduced the term. This is the mathematical model. Am I clear? You know TG plus alcohol with transistorification, DG plus biodiesel. You will be able to write down the equation. I think all you know, right? Michael-Spenten equation. You know Michael-Spenten equation? Do you know? Just you can recapitulate. Michael-Spenten equation. S plus E with reversible reaction. AC from these product plus enzyme. Just you have to follow this. Substrate plus enzyme with reversible equation. Suppose it is K1, it is K minus 1. So H plus D. Ultimately, with this equivalent equation, it will create the complex, and from that part, ultimately it will produce the product and enzyme will be reverted. Now, same philosophy. To write down the mathematical model, you have to follow where I have written, that is, where I have written TG Tg, Tg plus Al, Tg plus Al, that is equal to Dg plus Bd. This Dg plus Al, this is Tg plus Al, this is Mg plus Bd. This Mg plus Al, this is equal to Tl, glycerol plus Bd. So follow these equations, you will be able to the mathematical model. Okay? The concept is this. Now, what I wish to tell you, this is the initial condition, and we have here first observe that the effect of stirrer speed on the conversion of biodiesel production at 10 degrees Celsius. First, we have checked numerically effect of stirrer speed, that is 10 degrees Celsius. Just you have to follow here. Effect of temperature on conversion of biodiesel production at 600 degree RPM. We have checked it. And last, we have production of the effect of steering speed on evaluation of biodiesel production. Just you have to follow. When we have considered 600 RPM, we get better result. And just we have introduced the control UT for the production. That this is the without control, this is with control. When we are controlling this steering speed, everything, then production is much higher rather than the without control. And this model exhibits that the process of reaction depends significantly on mixing intensity and temperature, optimization of mechanical agitation, and evaluation of mass transfer resistance is essential in the transfer clarification reaction for biodiesel process production. Hence, the effect of impedance speed along with the temperature is the predominant in increasing the mass transfer dynamic rate of biodiesel production process in that reactor. And lastly, what we suggested that the proposed model of biodiesel can be successfully applied to the experimental cases also. Now, another one which we have published next year in 2016. It has also been published in Pune. We have used alcohol, right? Now, in this work, what we did, studies on biodiesel production from Icammwa soil using chemical and biochemical methods. Chemical methods we have used, that is alcohol, and biochemical methods also we have used here. And all this, a comparative mathematical study has been in the previous work. Already we have seen just alcohol we have used, but here we wish to use on biochemical also we wish to use. A comparative mathematical study has been made between two mathematical models of transfer clarification reaction with respect to chemical catalyst and enzyme catalyst respectively. First one was chemical catalyst, that is alcohol. This is we wish to use the enzyme catalyst. And compared these two processes with respect to product efficiency, reaction condition, and mass transfer, ultimately we have compared it, and we also apply quantum theoretic approach in mixing intensity through the biocatalytic process to cost-effective production of biodiesel from Icammwa farming. So just you have to recapitulate the previous one. This is the diglycide plus alcohol, diglycide plus biodiesel, diglycide plus alcohol, monoglycide plus biodiesel, monoglycide plus alcohol, glycerol plus biodiesel. During the process of production, so many allied, ancillary, so many ancillary is to be produced during the process of production. And that we have considered in this mathematical model. That is called saponification reaction. And when it is to be happen, another part will react with each other. That is called the saponification reaction. And during that process, during the production process of the biodiesel, this triglyceride already which we have used, this triglyceride also react with potassium and ultimately it will produce the soap and glycerin, and biodiesel with potassium, again soap and alcohol, and this F is fatty acid, which is not which is slow down for the production of biodiesel. These all issues slow down for production of the biodiesel. That we have considered here how the effect has to be enhanced to the or decline to the enhance of production of biodiesel. That is fatty acid along with potassium, it will ultimately create soap and water. This soap and water during the process of production of biodiesel is very, it is declaring the production of the biodiesel. Now, considering all these issues, we have formulated them in the same manner, we have formulated the mathematical model, and here we have considered the deviation, we have considered the alcohol. Here, what we have considered? Here, enzyme plus triglyceride, enzyme triglyceride complex, like this, enzyme triglyceride complex, from this enzyme triglyceride complex, acetic acid enzyme and glycerol, again from acetic acid enzyme plus alcohol, acetic acid enzyme alcohol complex, again enzyme will be reverted and biodiesel will be produced, and again from enzyme plus alcohol, it will ultimately yield the enzyme alcohol complex. This is the stoichiometric diagram or enzymatic method for which we will ultimately form the mathematical model, and this is the mathematical model. Ultimately, when we have compared numerically, analytically we have done using the control input parameter, and when we have done the numerical work, and we have seen that is this is the biodiesel, it is the biometric process, enzymatic process, and it is the alkyl process, that is alcohol we have used. And all these things, so many figures I am not going to, just what results we have received from that study, that is the mass transfer in enzymatic transesterification of jatropha oil depend mainly on agitation speed, amount of enzyme, and the result explored enzymatic transesterification is the best alternative. Best alternative, enzymatic transesterification is the best alternative to produce biodiesel from lactobacillus than chemical catalysis. But obviously, right, high productivity and good quality of product and byproduct, although being slower process. But I will tell one thing here, that is, you can use the biochemical process, but it is slow for the production of biodiesel, and result reveals that which we are getting in our study, that it is much more possible. Another one, later in 2021, we have this one. Here we have considered the supercritical oil by supercritical method. And what does it mean, the supercritical method? Just I am not going to elaborate discussion. The supercritical transesterification method is a process carried out at the temperature of 280 degree to 400 degrees Celsius and pressure in the range of 100 degree to 100 to 300 VAR. This method takes advantage of the homogeneous phases which form at the supercritical condition of the alcohol and triglyceride mixture, promoting first transesterification reaction of triglyceride and simultaneously esterification of free fatty acid without the need of catalysis. So this is the basic concept of supercritical method that we have used in our mathematical model. We have used the previous one in the same way, and we have received the result that is low mixing intensity has a major influence on the biodiesel production along with the kinetic parameters. Controlling steering speed during the reaction has a significant impact for the optimizing biodiesel in supercritical method with steerer process. And lastly, supercritical method is here. It is better alternative than chemical catalyst method to produce biodiesel from Yatubakatas oil due to the economical benefit, high productivity, and good quality of the product. And lastly, just last year, this work has been published, and here we have considered the ultrasound effect for the production of biodiesel. At ultrasound, in mathematical term, we have introduced this word, and that to construct that mathematical model, one of our topmost chemical engineer in my university, he has retired, and he was our co-vice chancellor, Professor Siddhartha Datta. He has supported me a lot because during the formation of the mathematical term, it was very difficult for us to formulate that term, as because of so many units, so many dimensions is very much associated with formation of that mathematical term. If you do not have the much knowledge during the production process, you are unable. Since I am not be able to, I am not been involved in the production process. That is why I was unable to form the so mathematics and chemistry along with this mixing, we have produced this term that I will show here. The enhancement of biological production by ultrasound technology, a mathematical study which we did, and this was the term which we had formulated, and here Professor Siddhartha Datta helped us a lot, and ultimately what we received this result, that is, just I am giving the last portion, it is also comparable with the results of biological production using mechanical steer. Since this is the energy input is less than for the mechanical steer, this method is superior to the study with the mechanical steer. So up to this, another one just been here day before yesterday. That paper has been prepared for production part. So this is up to my lecture, which I have written, and this is the work which has been published in different peer-reviewed journals in last 10 years. These all are very much associated with the ecological part as well as the production part. These are the references. And all is my paper. All these papers are my paper. Last from 2013, we are publishing this work. And lastly, I'd like to mention here that my key expert awarded PhD considering this work, that is Dr. Bahar Al-Ghurti. He was awarded in 2016, just after considering this project in 2013, 2012. Then in 2020, my another student, Dr. Jahuri Chaudhary, all are very much associated giving the product of this work. And last year, another of my students, research student Sheikh Musharraf Ahmed, awarded PhD in 2024. All of their titles, I am giving my presentation here, you will get. And lastly, I acknowledge all of my research collaborators, awarded research scholars, and present research scholars for their hard working contribution to publish this research, and I must have to say thank you.
That's very great. This is very graceful. I also want to visit. I still want you to sit down. And then your water. Thank you. Your water. Is that with statue? Wow. Honestly, as I can't listening to you, I'm very happy because I think my very first time of switching to mathematical modeling was meeting like this, but my alma mater, University of Ibadan. The teachers still organized a workshop like this. Brought some people from we call it big data science. So draw this some of these questions from what's this? One of the labs outside. I can't remember now the name of the country. Just escaped my mind. And I saw what these guys were doing with mathematics. Mathematics, the same mathematics that we just say given epsilon greater than zero, there exists data greater than zero, such that you are familiar with those things, such that f of x minus f of x not absolute value less than epsilon, you know, whenever x minus x naught is less than delta, and then you begin to put the convergence and everything. I say, wow. And I started seeing somebody for the first time in my life that I'm bringing aspect of modeling disease. And I was saying that, I said, what? You mean that we are not crazy in maths because what's we used to think that we're a set of people who are just in our own corner and we are crazy people who are dealing with some crazy things that people cannot understand. The other part of the world is on the other side. They are doing their own thing, and then math, you are doing your own thing. And what used to make us feel like we are doing math then, when you have like 5 pages, of your notebook and you are seeing all the terrible Greek letters flowing together and nobody can even understand it except you. You are happy, you say, we've done something. I used to feel like that. Until recently, until I encountered that situation, and I want to believe some of us who are still here too. Maybe are possibly having the same feeling that, oh, you mean particularly maybe undergraduate, postgraduate, people who are early career, that you mean those maths, and then those of us are not maths students too. And so you mean this math can be used for something like this. For me, I want to say it again and again and again. Thank you, Prof, for bringing to light this kind of thing. That's very, it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. All right, now let's ask question from Prof. He has presented a very beautiful lecture. We delivered a beautiful lecture. So, are there questions? Question, please. Okay, so I'll just give us number. Okay, so I'll start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love that. Any other? Okay, good. If you're able to take this forward, I think it will be good.
All right, thank you, Professor, for the very beautiful and insightful presentation. I'm so happy I'm here. So quickly, my question is on the first part of the lecture, the ecology aspect, where you develop a simple model to capture the interaction between healthy through, is it Jaffa through? I forgot the name of that plant again. Yeah, true fat. So, and then but I noticed that for the infected class, you didn't capture recovery. Is it that for infected class, the infected Jaffa plants don't recover, or you assume that there's no recovery? You assume that they don't recover.
So what he's saying is that for the ecological parts, you factored recovery at the latent stage. And then for the infected plants, you only factored that the rate at which people destroy the infected. Then so he's saying that is it that the people infected won't recover? Is it that recovery only takes place at latent stage? Because that was what that equation seems to show. Recovery back to healthy.
I'm giving basic information. Suppose you are still eggs are here, right? But still mangoes are here in a one mango, which is yes, it is that mango. Other mangoes will be healthy for the children. But that mango is not to be for state mango. Another mango it is very much uh, yeah. And if you do not remove that mango, after 2 or 3 days, we see a power mango. Three, think also. The three, we have considered one part that is the latency. We actually wish to see the dynamics of the system. Latent part. From latent, that is the population, the extra part of condition not being infected actively. So from that part, we can move towards the liquid. But and some of the will move towards in the activity intake. Now, if you do not pass uh, from the recovered part, the obviously the other plants will be described. That is why, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. I think that sounds so well, but we were at first away from the human perspective of epidemiology. Now it seems that the way you explain now that the healthy, the latent, and then the actively infected, with the latent, which is not actively infected, it's possible still recover since it's not wholly infected.
Yeah.
So, but the one that is entirely
The
infected,
concept is same.
yeah,
The concept that's
so
the concept.
it's the one that has to be removed before
Yeah.
so that it will not.
In the pandemic situation,
Mm,
lot of people here have not been infected. But when you come from the other places in the airport, then we
They are isolated. And
Huh?
so if they are isolated, they can go back. That's great. So thank you so much, Prof. That's very clear. Thank you. So the second question.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the wonderful presentation. My question is on the chemical catalyst method. You explained the process leads to saponification, which is the formation of soap, which reduces the efficiency of the production of biodiesel. So I want to ask that, is there a way to improve this biodiesel produced during the chemical catalyst method and still maximizing the byproducts? Like, I'm just thinking, just to make use the efficient use of this reaction, like this saponification reaction, which leads to soap formation, can still be used maybe in cosmetics industries, in soap making industry. So I'm looking at, is there a way to improve biodiesel forms during chemical catalyst methods? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Prof, did you get that question?
probably
Yeah, I was distracted, so I would have just concealed it and then but I want to be, did you get it, sir? Okay. Okay, let me allow her again to come back so that.
in a nutshell, just in a nutshell, what is your question? We just asked.
Okay, the chemical catalyst method leads to saponification reaction, that is the formation of soap, which reduces the efficiency of the biodiesel, products of the biodiesel. So I'm now saying that, is there a way to make use of this reaction, like the efficient use of this reaction, like is there a way to improve the biodiesel, the products of the biodiesel, and also the byproducts, which is soap formation, like because this can also be useful for some other industry, like the cosmetics industry, soap making industry. So I'm asking, is there a way to improve the biodiesel?
Yes, it can be separated.
Thank you.
It can, that actually what we do. As we have formulated our mathematical model, that means reaction mixing, reaction intensity. So what intensity, what RPA we should consider in the process. What temperature we considered during the process of the production. And or molar ratio is to be considered during the production of production. Because all other issues I have not considered here. I have considered only three step-wise reaction, which is associated for the production of biodiesel. And mathematically, we have tried to give some suggestion that what will be the RPM, that is molar ratio, what will be the temperature, and what will be the mixing issue. These three targets was initially to formulate the mathematical model. We have done, we have given that result. Okay. Now, for more study, we see that during the process of production, so another part of the production which is very much associated with the application. And this application process ultimately makes the soap and water, which is decline the production cost. How can we recover? That's why we have considered in that mathematical model, and we have used the enzymatic process. At least we have used in that case, we have considered the enzymatic dynamics, and that we have used, and considering all these issues, that is soap, water, applications have already been involved in our main data reactor. That has already been considered, right? Now, considering this, we try to use the biochemical so that another set of reactions has been produced, formulated. And from that set of reaction, we just use the control theoretic approach to see the temperature, molar ratio, and mixing intensity, which we have already gathered in our knowledge of our previous class. That we have been controlling. We mean that we are getting, considering all these issues, we have seen that we are getting much more better result rather than the considering only the chemical process. Now your question is whether you will be able to separate that water and soap during the process of production. Right?
Yeah, so that's maybe other companies also
Yes.
use it. So
Obviously, it can be separated. But I am not interested to them. It is obviously separated. But you have considered, I am not interested. You can do it, no problem. But it can be, because initially we have not separated. I actually, what actually as a mathematician, what we can give that. I have given three solutions. One is temperature, one is molar, another is molar ratio, and is the mixing intensity. If you follow these things, you will get some maximum. And we have also given another part, that is the enzyme chemical catalyst and using biochemical catalyst. So from these two, you just have to follow. I am not producing biodiesel, but the experimentalists or the industrialists who are producing the biodiesel, they will follow our solution.
thank you so much. So the idea now is that the interest is not for production of soap, as it is now is for production of biodiesel. So and what we make also have the maximum production of biodiesel are the three things he has suggested that should be followed. One which has to do with temperature requirements, the molar ratio, and then the third one that has to do with the mixing intensity. So which helps to maximize production of that during the desired product. So for soap parts, so we're saying he has not considered that.
What it has been affected during the process of production, that obviously focused as because of how much production you are getting. That has been focused.
So thank you so much, bro. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. That's wonderful presentation. So my question is, for all the models that were presented, so I'm interested in how the parameterization for each of the model were done to say that they were representing enough to get some of the numerical simulations that we get. Because we have to use
No difference. Here the forward reaction parameter, backward reaction parameter. K1, K3, K4, K3. It was the forward reaction parameter. K1, K2. And backward is K2, K4, K3, right? So this is no individual parameter. They are very much stated equal. If we go to any chemical related channel, we can make it. I have not incorporated anything in the basic concept. That is the I have given the notation here that is the Michael stated. Is plus E equivalent to K1, K minus 1, and ultimately complex, then product and enzyme will be done. So this K on K, K on K minus 1, K on K minus 1, right? If K1, what will be the value? This is a basic concept. Now I have this concept is for the production of biodiesel consistent. Now this K1 and K minus 1, how you have to choose it? Search the literature and you right.
Okay, so much.
This is not super important.
Yeah, so it was exactly what you said now, that was they were all obtained from literature.
Okay.
Basically.
If you have any basic question, you can ask me. If you wish to know basic mathematical model related question, if you then please ask me. Okay. Because I am very tired. I have given 2.5 hours.
Okay, please.
So
I hope we have to thank you so much. We can't Prof actually tried. So the remaining question, which is one, I think will be asked during the lunch. So when Prof is eating and then maybe has relapsed, you can approach Prof and then ask him that question. Maybe let's put our hands together. We appreciate you for that and a beautiful video. Prof, thank you so much. You may now listen. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, everyone, thank you for staying through.